another match point.
Incredible third set here.
They changed their strategy a little bit and they fought their way back in.
There it is. Game, set, and match.
Hello and welcome to the 2024-25 APTA Tour. We're live from Hyde Park Country Club in Cincinnati, Ohio, bringing you the 2025 Midwesterns with live streaming brought to you by the APTA membership and our tour presenting sponsors Volley and Corient. Tournament support has been provided by the following local sponsors: Roto-Rooter Plumbing and Drain Service, High Grain Brewing Company, River Hills Bank, the Summit Hotel, Total Platform Tennis, Taziki's Mediterranean Cafe, and Viking. I'm Guy Moore along with Brian Fay, bringing you the men's finals between Fraser, our partners Tyler Fraser and Eric West, playing against Chris Humphreys and Wes Benkaim, our number 1 and 2 seeds. Brian, welcome to the booth.
Awesome. Thanks, Guy. Really excited to be here today. We have an awesome matchup coming to you, as you said, the 1 and 2 seed of West and Fraser on the far side of the court, and then Humphreys and Benkaim on the close side. If we're looking at the far side of the court in the white hat and white jacket, that's Tyler Fraser, the pro over at Camargo Country Club. In the black, that would be Eric West, the lefty. And then on the close side of the court in the backwards hat, that would be Russell Benkaim. And his partner in the blue paddle and gray outfit is Chris Humphreys, who looks like he's about to start serving here. And up in the chair, we have Ron Brigatti.
Yeah, so Brian, it'll be kind of cool to, these guys have to be warmed up. The ladies' finals, great finals, went a little bit late. These guys are probably pretty loose, and even though a couple rare errors by Humphreys there to start the match, but it looks, the weather's nice, it's sunny. I don't think the sun's a big factor here, but, kind of a cool matchup. Two lefty-righties, right, Brian?
Absolutely. And as you said, the sun potentially could be a factor, but when you have a lefty-righty on your team, it always kind of gets rid of that at least a little bit, just because you can have one person take more overheads than the other. But you're right, absolutely interesting to see. Very similar matchups from that perspective.
And you go right away here. We know what Fraser likes in the backcourt. He loves that hard backside where he can follow it up the side screen, and he's so aggressive with that backhand. And then Eric West likes his backhand as well, right?
Oh yeah, he really comes out and hits it, and looks mean when he does it. It's not one of those surprise shots that catches up to you. He's going to swing at it when he gears up for it.
Yeah, and it's not like West is 6'5", 220. That guy's lean and mean, and he just pumps it when he hits it, doesn't he?
Oh, absolutely. And you just saw him rip a forehand, too. So he can hit off both sides pretty well. It's going to be interesting to see what the tactic is here for Humphreys and Benkaim as to where they pick on, what side of the court, and if there is a weakness, where is it?
Fraser West, they lead the first set.
And as you said, they are expected to be pretty warm up, but that was a loose-ish game from Humphreys there, going for 2 cutters on the first and last point there. But, as this match progresses, we expect all 4 guys to settle in here.
Yeah, and I to be honest with you, in terms of Humphreys there, that's just kind of sitting around, waiting around, just a little loose. That's all that is. He'll tighten that up. He always does. And Humphreys, partner for the last couple of years, Felipe Osasconic, those guys were never shy about if things or they weren't getting their looks in the backcourt, they were not shy about switching out in the backcourt, meaning Humphreys plays the ad side and, Benkaim would move over to the deuce or the forehand side. And that was successful for them. And this is where, Brian, too, when West and Fraser are at the net, I'd love to see West just as the word. What's your overhead word for what West does with this ball? Go ahead.
Choose the ball. He chews the ball up with that overhead.
Exactly. And you know what? It's interesting. He didn't do a lot of that last night when I was calling the match. I don't know. I mean, they won 2-2, so maybe not necessary because it's a lot of effort. But it's such a devastating shot when he hits it that well, right?
Absolutely. I had the pleasure of playing with him about a month ago or so out west in Denver, and he did a whole lot of that trying to carry me to winning. But yeah, his overhead is something else when he really gets set up and really goes after it.
I look at the action on this, and that's the combo we like, right? The two over to Humphreys, and then that ball that you refer to as kind of chewing it up and just slashing it over at Benkaim in the backhand side.
Absolutely, and he's handled it well so far, but that's not the ball that you want to try to have to control and handle. That's an offensive ball that is low risk for West and obviously has huge rewards. So they're going to be looking to do that all match. And that was a great read by Humphreys coming up on that, up the line, just tagging West there to bring it to 15-30.
And I do think Fraser has a great cut / overhead, but not from that far off the net. It's just, like you just said, it's just too easy to read. I mean, that works in the first two rounds of the tournament, not now, right?
That's exactly what I was going to say. That works against me, but not against these guys.
Didn't work against you in Denver, though, did it, Brian?
I got lucky. It didn't, but I had a good partner, which always helps.
Okay. Well, there's two sides of the court, brother. You handled your side.
Exactly. And speaking of that, and I think this is something that I like to talk about these matches, is who is the alpha, who is the beta? And that doesn't mean who's better or worse, but it does mean, who's the one who should be looking to take those potentially riskier shots, and who is the one who should be more patient. And it looks like early here, right? West is taking more of the overheads. He's taking on more risk, and you're seeing Fraser as being much more patient and hitting high percentages. On the other side of the court, Guy, what do you think? Do we think it's more 50-50 and they're feeling it out, or is one person you think been a lot more consistent in shot selection versus another?
I mean, it's early. I mean, the first game was loose by Humphreys, and again, we said he'll clean that up. But I think it's interesting. I mean, you're seeing Benkaim hit a lot of these overheads right now, but it's also interesting because you have Humphreys as a lefty playing against another lefty, so those lefty overheads don't mean as much going to another lefty. Those lefty overheads going to a righty mean more, just because it's a different look. Lefties digest that a bit differently as it's lefty coming to lefty. Does that make sense?
I'm going to say it does as a lefty, so
Right.
I can say it makes sense.
Good. We didn't even talk about that off air, did we?
We didn't.
We just roll with that.
Exactly. Oh, that's a great get by Eric West. And that's a great overhead by Benkaim, and really mixing it up and getting Fraser and West to really have to cover a lot of ground on the court and going right at him with the heavy spin.
That's a big serve, huh? Just jam Fraser. I mean, that serve had him at the gate, Brian.
Yeah, I would have been calling for help for somebody off the court to hit that for me. I mean, that's a great track by West, and Benkaim read it correctly. Just couldn't change the grip enough to push it over the net.
I tell you what, too, Russ Benkaim's cut, overhead, and spins have gotten progressively better and better almost with every match he plays. Agreed?
100%. I was going to say that. I watched him at the League Classic about a month ago, which he did win, and he was all over the place, cutting the ball. I think he is a real X factor today if he can, keep the errors down a bit and use some of that nastiness to end points and get West and Fraser out of position.
He won the League Classic with Humphreys, right? Did they win it together?
No, he won it with Zach Rosenau, I believe.
Oh, Rosenau. Okay. Yeah, right. And Humphreys, who did Humphreys play with in the League Classic? He was there
Humphreys
too, right?
Played with Willie Kendall.
Right.
And I think they lost in the semis.
Right, exactly.
Yes.
Great job from Fraser and West to get back into this game here.
Yeah. Deuce.
And Guy, that's where you just see Eric West's athleticism, right? They thought they kind of had a freebie to his side screen, and he just ran up there and was able to kind of karate chop that over.
Well, and he's almost, as you know, Brian, he's just leaving that corner open, baiting them to go there. And when he's overplaying the middle, baiting them to go there, the only shot he's looking for is the backhand. So that's why you see him like this right here. You see him jump on that so fast. He's leaving it open intentionally to get what he just, I mean, obviously what we all just saw.
And I know I don't have to tell Humphreys and Benkaim this, but they probably should not try to go there again this point, unless they hit it harder to make sure they get it by him.
Good back. Yep.
Yeah, I even think going hard at him is bad because it's going to come off the backside. I mean, it's just, if you're going to go there, you got to hit a hard side back.
Absolutely. What a great cutter that was by Benkaim. And we've just talked about it earlier. That cutter is getting better and better every match he's playing.
By the way, that wasn't easy, too. I mean, most of the best cutters come from balls that are a little lower. I mean, that ball was up there. He just let it drop and just, as Brian Fagg would say, chewed it up.
Game. Fraser West. They lead the first set 3-0.
All right, so, Brian, 3-love. I mean, call it a kind of semi-quick 3-love. I just think Humphreys and Benkaim need to just slow down a little bit. Just a little quick. They're up 40-15 in that game. Just slow down, maybe talk a little bit, understand you don't want to get down 4-1, 5-2 to these guys. That's a tough comeback in a set, right?
Absolutely. And against a team like this that is trying to beat you, right? I think there's two types of teams. Those that are trying not to lose, right? That might keep you out there for 5 hours. And that's not really how, Fraser and West win these matches, right? They want to be fast, athletic, spin the ball. And I think slowing it down absolutely would be advantageous for them here.
Well, I mean, quick isn't working, right?
Exactly. Quick is definitely not working here.
Yeah. No bueno?
No bueno. And that is a great serve that caught the nick there from Tyler Fraser to bring it to 15-all.
I have a question for you, Brian.
Sure, let's hear it.
Let's talk about the quarters at the Nationals coming up in Philly the first weekend in March. And you don't have to answer it all now. You and I can go back and forth over the next few minutes, but let's talk about the 8 teams that we think are going to be there. And we should write this down so we can go back and forth when we're commentating Nationals at Philly. All right. We have 8 places in the quarters. Go ahead. You could start.
Okay. So I'll sprinkle in some teams over the next few minutes here. But
You get 4 and I get 4. Hold up. You get
Okay.
4 and I get 4. Hold up. That's the rules.
all right.
Go ahead.
So I will start by saying Fraser and West will be in the quarters at Nationals.
Okay.
Game, Fraser West. They lead the first set 4 games to 0.
Okay. I will
So-
start. You ready? I'm going to take this
yeah.
one away from you.
Good.
I will start by saying Regalado and Salazar will be in the quarterfinals at Nationals.
Guy, you're not a lot of fun to play this game with. All right, you're taking the team that's lost 1 match in like 18 months. But
All right. Let's stop
so
there
be it.
for a minute. We got to save. So that's 2 out of the 6. Okay.
yes,
Okay. I know my next one already. Do you want to go 2 more right now, or you want to wait?
no, I know my next one. I will go with Chicago's finest, which would be Adam Morgan. And
Oh. You took it right out of my mouth. Not cool.
sorry about
okay.
that.
Okay, I'm going to go with Jersey's finest, assuming health is all good. I'm going to go with Broderick Christian into the quarters of the Nationals. And then let's pause for a minute. Wow, that is silliness.
So good. So that's 4 for us. I'm going to say, Guy, you know what? Let's stop at 4. I want to hear from people on the channel who they think will also get in. If anyone's
All right,
tuned
so,
in,
okay, good. So they have our 4. They need to, you're going to monitor this, Brian. They need to,
I'm on it.
they need to also agree or disagree with those 4. And then we'll let them talk about who they think the next 4 are.
What
like
an
that?
athletic point. I love it. What an athletic point here from these guys. I mean, Humphreys has hit 2 to 3 unbelievable cutters. West got it. Fraser covered him. Unbelievable. And there's the switch call. Go back. Oh, and Russell missed the easier one. Benkaim. That's the one where, look, you're off the net. Just push it in play. He can stay back and reset. Right, Guy?
For sure.
So, Guy, I'm starting to get some thoughts on the YouTube channel. No one has disagreed so far, which, why would they? Because we're 2 of the smartest people alive. But
certainly, certainly right now in this match, no one has a choice.
Exactly. And that's the ball where I don't mind Humphrey's shot selection there, right? He has the ball to cut it. He just missed the execution. But that is probably, he has that obviously in the bag. I'm okay with him hitting that. Just unfortunately couldn't get it over the net.
Yeah, I don't know, Brian. I mean, I don't know. The ones, I mean, the thing is both Benkaim and Humphreys' overheads, their slashes are so good that, I don't know, sometimes I just feel like they're a little too far back. But, I mean, you could feel like you could hit it, and it goes back to what we said a minute ago. You can get away with that earlier in the tournament. And by the way, Benkaim and Humphreys have not even been tested in this tournament, by the way. I don't think they've been down in the set at all.
They lost a set in the quarters, actually.
Did they?
They did, to a Cincinnati team of Rob Bacher, who, has been
right, of course,
highly ranked, and Luke White, who I know very well from my days living in Cincinnati, a very good player. Oh, and that is just silly. We should get a replay of that. That is unbelievable from Benkaim.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, that ball is going out the door. And that's the thing too, Brian, is when you can hit them that well. I mean, why wouldn't you want to hit them more and more? I mean, they're just so good.
Right? I don't have that in my repertoire, so you don't see me attempting that.
It's not in the bag, not in the satchel.
Definitely not. Definitely not. So how critical in your eyes is this game for this set? If they lose this game, what percentage are you giving to Benkaim and Humphreys to get back into this set?
Well, I mean, obviously, easy answer, very little, but win or lose this game, they've got to, and it's already due, so they've got to make them work. So even if they lose this set, which, you know, they're down 4-love, I mean, percentages say they're probably going to, that at least they need to have some momentum going into the second set. And we all have been there where we won a first set 6-1, 6-0, 6-2, and then lose the next set and say, what just happened? And that's because the momentum is kind of swished. So
Absolutely. And you saw some frustration there from Humphreys. He knows he needs to clean it up. And again, as you said earlier, I expect him to, right? I mean, he won Westchester earlier in the year. He's been a top, 5 to 10 team with Felipe. I mean, I fully expect him to, these guys to make it tight later in this set and in the second set.
yeah, those guys played. Humphreys and Austin Connick played a great match at Westchester.
Against Nunez and Powers, I believe.
Yes, it was. And I'll tell you what, Austin Connick had a horrible fall that match, too. I don't know if you remember that, but, I mean, for him to bounce back after falling the way he did, going for a ball, I mean, it's not that easy.
Falling on the paddle court is maybe one of the worst things you can do.
Yeah, you'll remember it for the rest of your life, right?
Yes. Yes, you absolutely will. All right, so Guy, following up, I got a few teams that people think are to make the quarters. Hold
up before you say anything.
Yep.
Before you say anything, should we pick our next 4 or should we read these first? Because I don't know. You tell me. I mean, we're kind of making the rules up of our game as it goes, so it's up to you.
No, I think we read them, and if we disagree with them, we tell the viewers we disagree and why we may disagree. And then they can come in and tell us we're wrong, and then we'll go from there. How about that?
All right, I like it. Good rules, Brian. Go ahead.
All right. So
All
we
right,
got.
So let's remind everybody who our 4 are already.
Yep. We got Fraser Morgan. Not Fraser Morgan. Sorry, Fraser West. We got Fraser West. That's a great point and great ball by Tyler Fraser to bring him to game point for 5-0. We have Morgan and McNerney. We have Regalado and Salazar.
Whose pick was that? That's a stupid pick.
And then we have Humphreys and Osis Koenig, I believe, as the 4 picks. I believe that's correct.
All right. So we got McNerney, Morgan. We have Fraser West. We have Regalado, Salazar. And there's 5-love.
5-love.
Go ahead there.
They lead the first set 5-0.
Good. And this is a perfect time to talk about one of our main sponsors, Volley. Volley is an amazing thing, and I don't know if you've ever used it, Guy, but you're able to train in real game scenarios with the serve and volley. It's the world's first responsive play drill. Volley's new AI-powered feature track. It makes sure you know where your position is on the court, the ball, and returns every serve for targeted practice. Try it today on the Volley app. And here we got West serving for the set, up 5-0.
Yeah, let's see if he gets more aggressive with his overhead. Even there, I mean, Humphreys digging that ball, that is, you can see how much action there is. But I tell you what, it hasn't really been that necessary so far, Brian, that he has to do more than he's doing. I mean, he's just, I mean, the old saying is do what you need to do. I mean, it's 5-love, right?
Yeah, look, I wouldn't change anything. I can't say that Weston Fraser are winning by their shot making. I can say they're winning by their shot selection, and they're not giving Humphreys and Benkaim, I would say, easy balls, and they're not necessarily letting them get into rhythm. You saw on that first point of the game, right? Humphreys, killed a forehand, and West just went back to go get it, right? They're not giving him freebies, which in this game, it's a cruel game. It's very, very hard to win points.
It's interesting too here from a righty-lefty perspective. You see the discipline with Fraser and West, which was a little different when I last called a match against Regalado Salazar in Chicago, which is the last match I believe they lost together as a team, right, Brian?
Yes. Yep. Haven't lost together since then.
Eric West was just carving the ball, hitting a lot of the overheads, and it's just very taxing to swing that big all the time. And then Fraser would, pull the ball over to the backhand side to Regalado, but they were just kind of sharing some of the responsibility. But here you could see, so far from what I could tell, Brian, very disciplined that West is going to hit the majority of the overheads and play that forehand side of the court where Humphreys is. You can see Tyler Fraser, when they're at the net, sliding off to his left. And more importantly, when he gets an overhead that's to him down his line, he's pushing it right back through the middle instead of swinging it all the way over towards Benkaim where they're having to shift. So that, wow.
Yeah. I mean, he could just do that every point, right? But that is the right point they played, right? They went down the middle, down the middle, down the middle, down the middle, make Weston Fraser hit 25, 30, 40 lobs, and eventually you're going to get your ball, right?
Yeah, I tell you what, I'm gonna step out there right now, Brian. Agree or disagree? And this is another one for everyone watching. I mean, when Benkaim hits his cutter, I honestly don't know if there's any better shot in the game. I mean, the way that he hits that. I mean, what I've seen today, I mean, it's unbelievable the amount of RPMs that are on that ball. Look at that. I mean, he's hit 3 or 4 balls today that have more action on it than I've actually seen. Do you agree?
Yeah, I mean, I need to digest that for a second. I mean, I've been playing paddle for a while, and you've been around a long time, too. I am not going to disagree with you. I don't think so. I mean, that thing...
I mean, at least up there. I mean,
it is.
You talk about Kevins, Brian, Uline, and Kevins. I mean...
Oh, yeah.
I mean, those guys really sizzled it up. I mean, it's I don't want to say it's tough to remember that,
great
but
point.
great shot. He held it. But, I mean, the amount of spin that Benkaim puts on the ball, I mean, that ball is just untouchable.
The term I like to use a lot, Guy, is, I already said the word chew, but, he makes the ball look like an egg. The ball is circular, turning into an oval off his paddle.
Yeah, no doubt.
That's when
because of the action. Yeah,
because of the action.
Exactly.
Yep, and there's Benkaim and Humphreys getting on the board here, and as you said, Guy, look, that game is less about maybe competing in this set, but more of getting their mind right to get into this match and compete, and that was a much better game from them. Yep. Also, we do have another cutter consideration, which I also very much so agree with, is a Dan Hansen lefty cutter. I have been on the receiving end of one of those, and that is not a nice ball to see coming at you.
Who sent you that text? Hansen himself?
No, not Hansen himself.
I mean,
no.
who sent you that? I'm gonna give you a blast from the past, and I think that there is not one person watching or one person that knows who I'm talking about will ever disagree with what I'm about to say. You ready? I'll
Let's
give
hear it.
you, by the way, Brian, I'm going to give you 3 guesses on who I'm going to say on the men's side that had one of the best players in the game, never won a Nationals, close, one of the best players in the game, a New Jersey boy. I'm giving you a lot of hints that had an unbelievable cutter, crazy good. Go ahead, you get 3.
Whoa, how long ago are we talking here?
I can't give you that. I've given you so many details.
Okay. Well, I'm going to say DeRose first.
All right, done.
Yep.
I mean, I gave you way too many leading questions.
You
or
did.
leading
You
answers.
did.
I did.
But
I mean,
hey,
how
that's what
easy
you're
was
supposed
that?
to do. That was easy. You got to make me look good, and you are doing it, so thank you.
I mean, you look good today, Brian. I mean,
I try to.
I
We
know.
also got Patty Hogan texting me with a guess, and she also guessed DeRose. So
did she?
you probably gave
Awesome.
us a few too many hints.
Tell Patty I just gave it away. I got to learn from my mistakes, right, Brian?
Yes, exactly. I'm getting a lot of texts for DeRose, so we got to make it harder next time.
Okay.
30 all here
I-
in our yeah.
I hope DeRose is one of those people texting you. All right, I think everyone on the live stream will want to hear one of my favorite DeRose stories. Do you think they would, Brian?
You know what? I think so. Let's do it.
Okay. I was standing. By the way, Fraser West up 5-1, playing Chris Humphreys, Russ Benkaim, 30 all, first set.
Fraser Wester on the close side of the court. Fraser just hit that
Yeah.
push forehand high to Benkaim.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, we've seen fast games and slow games, right?
And that is the first set with a 7.5 out of 10 racket smash from Benkaim in frustration. But again, I think we're going to be in for a better second set here, Guy.
Yeah, and we'll tell the DeRose story when we come back. So we'll be right back in just a moment after these messages right here on the APTA YouTube channel presented by CSM Media.
At Corient, wealth management begins and ends with you. We believe the more personal the solution, the more powerful the result. We treat your goals as our own. We never lose focus on the life you want to build. And our experienced advisors design custom-built strategies to help you get there. It's time for a wealth management experience as sophisticated as you are. It's time for Corient.
James thinks this is going to be a quick in and out for a water valve. But what James is about to realize is that there are tons of different water valves. Hundreds, in fact. Do you want half-inch or a quarter? Globe or gate? Chrome? Brass? PVC? What even is PVC? Sounds fancy. Oh no, we don't need help. He's a grown-up. Wait, James, where are you going? Oh, not again. You could be like James, or you could just call Roto-Rooter.
And away go troubles down the...
One.
Welcome back to the APTA Tour. We are here at the 2025 Midwesterns in Cincinnati, Ohio, with the men's finals between Eric West on our far side in the black sweatshirt, white hat, his partner Tyler Fraser, white sweatshirt, white hat, playing against Russ Benkaim, hitting the overhead right now, white sweatshirt, black hat, and his partner Chris Humphreys with the blue paddle. Brian Faig's with me here. Brian, kind of a cool first set. I mean, kind of back and forth a little bit, even though it was 6-1. Go ahead.
Yeah, I agree. I think you know, a lot of people will tune in and go, oh, 6-1, that wasn't close. I mean, I think if you recount each game, especially later in the set, it was very tight. We're just seeing a few too many errors from Benkaim and Humphreys, but, you know, these two are pros. We fully expect them to kind of clean it up a bit, and excited to see what this set brings, Guy.
Yeah, I think it's, I mean, I'm going to state the complete obvious, but Benkaim and Humphreys can't afford to get down 2-1, 3-1. It's not going to work. So they need to have good long points, and as we've said, you know, limit the unforced mistakes that they've been making. I mean, actually mistakes that are out of character for both of them certainly didn't get them here, right? So, but I do go back to, you know, thinking you're going to play at one time and then kind of sitting around. Sometimes mentally, not physically, these guys are in great shape and great pros. You know, it just changes it a little bit. You know, it's hard to stand on your toes that long for a couple hours waiting to play. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And, you know, Humphreys and Benkaim might be thinking about their flight, right, to get home. West has about an 8-minute drive, right? So kind of different mentalities maybe early in the morning. Absolutely.
Yeah, so this game, needless to say, very important for Benkaim and Humphreys. And on the flip side, if you want to take care of business with Fraser and West, I mean, just as equally important, probably more important for them, right? That they stand on it and keep their foot on the gas.
Oh, absolutely. You cannot let a team of Benkaim and Humphreys' caliber back into this match, right? You saw the frustration at the end of the first set and throughout it. You want to keep these guys frustrated, and you do that by every point, you know, West and Fraser lose needs to be a long point like this, right? And maximize their time on court, because that really, I think, would frustrate these two.
Let's go.
And Guy, question for you there. West may have lost the overhead in the sun. You can see it getting a lot sunnier. I have played on this court. I'm curious to see if that'll actually be a factor, or if he just lost that one ball.
I have a question for you before I answer that one.
Sure.
Is sunnier a word? I don't know. Is that a word? It's sunnier today. I think it could be. It's a little more sunny today, or sunnier today than yesterday. Yeah, I think it's a word. I'm good.
I'm not the right guy to ask that, though. I got to be honest. Maybe the worst person to ask that question to.
Well, you said it, so I have to ask you.
All right. Well, I appreciate it.
I will say that, yes, they need to recognize who's looking in the sun, and that should dictate who's hitting more overheads, especially the higher the ball, right?
Yes,
I mean,
absolutely.
as a lefty yourself, I mean, you guys talk about that, I'm sure, quite a bit, right?
That's the most important thing, I would say. Yes, absolutely. The good news is with West and Fraser's, they both have great action. They both have great overheads. So I don't know if there's a major push for either of them to hit more overheads, but absolutely, as a lefty and righty combo team, that's probably the major thing you talk about before any match.
Well, so talk about it in the sense, Brian, that the sun is not a factor, and then talk about it in a sense where the sun is a factor, right?
Sure.
Because, interesting, right? I mean, that's where righty-lefties have such a big advantage, not to mention they could play in the stagger all day long at the net, which means someone could be closer because someone can drop back because there's two forehand overheads in the middle, but it's... And not only that, how about the serve? I mean, no one's ever serving in the sun, right?
Yeah, that's probably the most obvious, right? That extends to tennis, of course, too. But what I think this helps in this game is you can hit all four quadrants of the court. And when I say quadrants, I mean side screen of the deuce side, middle of the deuce side, middle on the ad side, and then the side screen on the ad side. You can hit any of those angles with a lefty or righty team, identifying the weakest part or maybe the least dangerous side of the court and really target that. So that is probably the biggest advantage for the lefty-righty, and that's with or without Sun. Guy, that would be my kind of major advantage.
Yeah, it certainly makes sense. I mean, you basically, I mean, think about it, right? From an overhead scheme perspective, you're, as a team, right? You and I are a team at the net. Lefty, righty, 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 lefty, lefty, it doesn't matter. I mean, there's really only 4 spots we could hit the ball, right? And these spots all include the screen. I could go to the ad side backhand, assuming it's a righty. I could go to the ad side forehand. I could go to the deuce side backhand, the deuce side forehand. I mean, as long as we know where we're going, we're in a good shape, right? From
Absolutely.
a net perspective.
Yes, and if for people who are tuning in, you go, how do I get better? What is the big deal? Watch Humphreys and Benkaim at net, and you see how when, you know, where they are and how close they are together at different times. And that's a great let go by Benkaim. But when Benkaim's hitting the overheads, right, Humphreys is at net, and when they switch it to the deuce side, right, so that's more advantageous for Humphreys to hit overheads, Benkaim and them are shifting over accordingly. So that's really important to watch up at net as these teams shift. I think that is the most important thing with the lefty-righty combo that you have to do, because otherwise you're leaving the middle very vulnerable with forehand volleys.
Exactly, and that's the if there's a downside between a lefty and righty, it's 2 forehand volleys in the middle, right? That's why the stagger is so important, because the closer you play to the net, the more backhand volleys you could hit, because you can move laterally. And that goes for lefty or righty. I mean, the farther you are off the net, the more forehand volleys you're going to hit.
Advantage, Fraser.
That's the forehand they worked really hard for, and Humphreys has made that shot a bunch earlier in the match. Just that one got a little bit behind him and unfortunately hit the middle of the net.
Well, he just thought too much about it, right? I mean, the more time you have to drive, probably the less you should. You know, he just had too much time. And on the other side of the net, you have a team that's balanced and just ready for it. You know, the best drives are the bang-bang plays where it's, you know, that shorter lob, the ball's hit down on because the overhead team has a lot less time to hit the overhead or to place it. And, you know, you always say too, Brian, you see someone's hands go high hitting an overhead, your hands should go high on the drive because you're going to be able to hit down on it, right? Tell you what, unbelievable first game, longest game of the match.
And that is a way to end it, hitting the nick on Benkaim to go up 1-0 for the team from Cincinnati, Ohio here.
There you go. Pull it out, Brian. Cincinnati. You know what? I think that's a new word that you just created. I mean, you could put that next to sunnier. I mean, that's bingo.
Now, maybe one day I'll have to apply those words to be word of the year, maybe, with the people that are running the dictionary these days.
The fake paddle dictionary.
You don't see win happen that much in that dictionary, but there are a lot of other words, Guy, that you know I can come up with.
You're doing a great job, brother.
Thank you.
You're all world. All world. All right, so again, I mean, Humphreys, Benkaim do not want to let this match get away from him. I mean, this game is they need this a must-win game.
I think what they're doing right now is smart. You play the middle of the court. You force offense a little bit, right? I mean, you saw it from West. And right there, I mean, look, that's an uncharacteristic lob miss, but that starts by moving the ball in the middle, right? Having a great volley, making them have to be athletic and get back in position.
Well, I tell you what I noticed too.
30 love.
Yeah, you don't see those 2 misses, 2 lobs long from West and Fraser much, but you know, Humphreys and Benkaim tend to play a little side by side as well. So that lob to the middle, you're right, only creates confusion, right?
Move up.
And
So-
here's an uncharacteristic game here. Guy, like you were just saying, right? You can't let him back in. And we've had 3 fairly quick errors here.
Yeah, I mean, these are errors that you haven't seen the whole match. 2 lobs long and an easy volley, and now that. All right, so, hey, you know what the good news is, Brian, for Fraser and Wes?
You go right
You know
back
what
to
the
the
good-
next one?
No, they just both played like the worst game of the match. So at least they did it together.
Yes. Yes,
Okay,
exactly.
now it's over.
Well,
Now it's over.
That's a great get. And that's what these guys do so well, right? Versus, your club player or folks like that, where that game, they may let that linger for 2, 3, 4 games. Fraser West already forgot about that game and are on to the next one.
They're done. And all kidding aside, when you play a bad game together, like you both play a bad game like they just did there, and I say it in a very positive way, they just did. 2 lobs long, both of them missed a lob long, an easy volley, and then a routine screen. I mean, it kind of feels better than your partner just making 4 errors in a row and you doing nothing wrong, right?
We've all been there, and on both sides of it, and it's not fun, so totally agree.
For sure. All right, go ahead, Brian. Name our 4 teams that we have already, and then let's get to it. Let's get the
Okay.
next 4.
Good. So our 4 teams that we mentioned, and I messed up earlier, but in no particular order, we said Fraser West, we said Morgan McNerney, we said Regalado and Salazar, and we said Broderick Christian. Those are the 4 that we said. I've got
Okay.
some tuning in here, and I'll read them in no particular order, but we have Mitchell Durant, which I wouldn't count them out ever. That would be stupid.
No,
of
I'm
me.
in. I'm in on that. So that's our 5. We're at 5. Go ahead.
Humphreys and Felipe,
I agree.
Nunez Powers,
Agreed.
and that's 7, right?
Yep.
So now I'm
Hold
going to
up.
throw out a. Yep.
Hold up. Okay. All right. Let's think about this. Number 8. I mean, I think most people would agree with those 7.
I would agree
Is
with
there
that.
is there a wild card in those 7 so far, or not really? I think those are solid teams.
I think
Remember, it's a
those are 7
64
very good.
draw. All right. Go. So no wild cards in those 7, right?
Not yet, no. I'm going to start with some honorable mentions, which, I don't think will make it, but I appreciate people putting that in. The first one is Mick Doya and Guy Moore. I don't know if you and Mick are playing.
Well, I will if he'll play with me.
Okay, so that's a possibility. We got Steve DeRose and the volley machine. I don't know if that's going to happen. But on a serious note, the other 2 that we got, which I think are possibilities, which one of the teams we saw yesterday is Tom Murphy and Ronnie Schneider.
Okay.
And then another one was Philippe Rams and whoever he wants to play with. So whether that be, Martin Bostrom or Andrew Ong or one of those guys.
What about like an Ong Wagner? I mean, those guys are playing, right? Or no, Wagner was playing with the Rams, right?
Correct. So it would be
So we're just covering all bases.
Ong and Steinman. Yes, Ong and Steinman would probably play together. Which
And I guess we're covering a lot of territory just saying Rams and whoever he wants to play with.
yeah, for sure.
That's cool.
And so for this game, you see Benkaim and Humphreys really trying to pump each other up. They both know how critical this 3rd game is here to make sure that, this set and match doesn't go away from them here.
Yeah, and on the flip side, this is where Fraser and West have to say, hey, this is extremely important. This game could be the match, to be honest with you.
Oh, 100% agree. And this is where, if I'm on the court, I have 2 different sayings. I'm a big fan of the Karate Kid movie. So this is where you
Which
go.
one?
The first one. Come on, got to be the first one, the original. But
Okay.
this is where you go. Sweep the leg. right? Finish the match right here. And that's the main one, I would say. That's it.
So,
right there.
so hold up. Are you saying you were in the Cobra Kai dojo and not Miyagi? If you're sweeping the leg, you're Cobra Kai.
Hey, I wasn't meaning cheating, but I am meaning go for the win here, right? And how critical this game is. Sweep the leg and end the match is kind of more what I mean. But I know that's not the best analogy.
Well, it's
Give me
all right.
another set and I might come up with a better one.
You're Cobra Kai, man. You're Johnny, not Daniel. It's all right. Anyways, you could tell even by the beginning of this set how much these first couple games mean to both sides.
I'll be here. Yeah, say what's time. Here we go. Game.
Wow.
Benkaim, Humphreys.
That is a
Lead the second
tough way to lose that game with a fault from Eric West.
Fraser West won the first set 6-1.
And Guy, this would be a great time to talk about one of the Cincinnati local sponsors here. Roto-Rooter is headquartered right in downtown Cincinnati. Roto-Rooter has been a dedicated sponsor of the Midwesterns tournament for the past 10 years. Roto-Rooter is America's largest provider of residential and commercial plumbing, repair, sewer, and drain services. Huge shout out to APTA member and Roto-Rooter president Robert Goldschmidt and his team for their loyal support. And while we have a second here, Guy, not only Roto-Rooter, but all the clubs and all the pros and members that are, allowing their courts to be used. Hyde Park Country Club, I played there for a long time and I lived in Cincinnati. So just shout out to all the guys over there. Patrick Shields, Gilligan, those two guys were instrumental for me in Cincinnati and are big-time players over there. And major shout-out to Heather Propp, who we heard her earlier today. It was mentioned that she's really boosted the Cincinnati women's game, and we had 3 women in the finals from Cincinnati. So huge shout-out. They're doing a great job of building the sport there, and you can clearly see it here with how good Fraser and West are.
Yeah, and that's the backhand Fraser's looking for, right? And even though Humphreys and Benkaim lost the point 2 balls later, it was because of that shot, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. That's the one Fraser's looking for.
And it's interesting, too, someone with the big backhand, especially playing that ad side as a righty. I mean, you're just trained, your mind's trained to go there, and you can just dump the ball there. But someone who has a big backhand, especially the two-hander like that, I mean, just steps up and is just sitting on it, committing, going forward. I mean, he's playing the ball off the deck. I mean, he takes every second of time away from you. And not only that, if he drives it down the line, even if Humphreys volleys it, he's volleying cross court to West, so they're creating movement as well.
Oh, absolutely. West and Fraser's offense is very different from the backcourt. West, I would say, is hitting your traditional ball, right? Like, oh, that ball's, not past the service line very much. I'm going to go up and hit it. Where Fraser really excels is, oh, you might be in some trouble, or you think you can sneak a ball to his side screen, or just dump balls over there. He will beat you getting that ball on the rise or being sneaky with a forehand like he was just trying to do right there.
No doubt about it. Let's see if they dump a ball over to Fraser's backhand again. Not going to have to worry about it. Well, maybe.
And that's where they're picking their poison here. They're getting those balls to West, which I don't know if I agree with that assessment. You know, he's just killed 2 or 3 balls. I think the one you want to do is try to go maybe middle to Fraser's forehand more, also to help with less shifting on the rebound. But great
get. Wow.
He was just moving like a young guy more out there.
15, 30.
Yeah, it's been a while. Been a minute.
And that's just a tough break. And the worst part about this sport, you can do all the hard shots well, and that one is just, you know, a missed lob, which is just tough. A tough pill to swallow sometimes. We've all been there and done that.
Great lob.
And Humphreys have
Benkaim's like a little, he's like a little kangaroo out there, isn't he?
Right, he is, and that was the ball that we've been kind of waiting for, right? From both West and Humphreys, a lefty shooing that ball into the ad.
I think he should learn from that. I mean, that's one of the best overheads I've seen him hit today. I mean, just letting the ball drop and that pattern, you know, because in that backhand side, you're not sure where he's going to go until he hits it, because he holds it so long. He could go to the deuce side. Ooh.
And that's a tough one, and that's where you see Benkaim is so fast and right and on top of it, but unnecessary, right? His partner's sitting there waiting for it.
Well, and that's what happens too, Brian, when you're kind of sharing the overhead responsibilities. I mean, both of them are closing at the same time, kind of looking for the same overhead, you know.
Absolutely. We've seen a little bit of confusion this game from them up at net.
But I do like the pace that Benkaim and Humphreys are playing at. I think it's good, just like that. I think it's good.
I
mean,
agree.
With that type of pace, you're gonna have those scenarios. I mean, it's just the way it is.
Yep, and that play, hey, you know, Humphreys is lobbed on the forehand side, right? And he just kind of pushed one over and was managed to catch Fraser's feet a bit and then come in behind it. I agree. The pace they're playing at is on their terms versus the first set. I think was a little too fast for what they wanted to do.
Either way, I mean, Fraser and West are at the net now, but that looked like an intentional switch in the backcourt before that lob went over their head. Meaning,
yes,
not a bad move at all.
No,
so
I think
now you have their weapons in the middle, right? You have two backhands in the middle.
100%. And for a lot of, you know, players, and you know, I think that's important, right? Is making adjustments, but just a different look, right? It doesn't mean they're going to do that every point or every match, right? But why not? I think teams get very comfortable in paddle, and the way most of these teams win is by making somebody else uncomfortable, and that's just one example of doing it, making them have to think a little bit more on their next overhead.
And by the way, I mean, as black and white as we try to be, right, Brian? I mean, this is paddle. You're playing in a small court. You're playing tight together at the net especially. Are you going to have your paddles hit one another sometimes going for the same ball? For sure. I mean, it's just part of the game, right?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, for anyone to sit there and think that that's not going to happen the longer the point goes, it just doesn't work. I mean, it's going to, especially when you have two players who anticipate well, and when things get a little electric, I mean, that's going to happen. It's all good.
And I really like that overhead. He's just holding it and pushing it down the middle, right? open, hit. Eventually, he's going to get a ball he likes, like this one, and then juice it to West, right? I think that is what they should
There's
be
the
looking for.
kangaroo right there. Benkaim
Exactly.
just gave us the kangaroo. I like
He's getting
that.
about, how many inches off the ground? More than you and I?
I don't know. Well, I want to see the kangaroo again. You ready?
We're going to get it in 3 shots.
Come on, Russell Benkaim. Give us that. By the way, we'll all know it when we see it. How about that? It doesn't matter if it's 2 games from now or not.
That's a great ball by Tyler Fraser to drive. Again, drives don't have to be all, Mach 9 right above the net. That one was a little more topspin heavy up near Russell's, shoulder area, and just dropped right in on the backside of the court. So really good shot to get them to the net.
Well, you know what's interesting too, Brian, in the past few years, I mean, call it 2 years for certain, but the last 3 or 4 years, I mean, the transition game in paddle, players moving up and back and letting balls be driven through them because they're not worried about playing them off the back screen without angle, to note, right? I mean, that's where the game's changed. And you see teams that drive through players at the net. A lot of times they don't even come in because the point's just too quick to warrant it. I mean, they just stay back. So, in other words, they're not trying to win the point with the drive. They're just spotting it. Does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense. It's a risk reward, right? And you talk to a lot of these top pros about where's that balance of risk and reward. And, Mick Radoya won a Nationals. I think it might have been 3 years ago now with Sven Burris, and they lived on that transition play.
Absolutely.
And that is a great ball and a great game. That was super tight. And I'm not going to say it was a must for either team, but definitely a bummer, I would say, for Benkaim and Humphreys. Going up 3-1 would have been a huge lift for them.
Agreed. So going back to kind of the tactical mindset of why am I driving the ball? I mean, I think if you're driving a ball that's sitting up shoulder level from inside the service box, yes, you're driving at a target with time and space on your side, probably hoping to win the point or hit somebody at the highest level, right?
Absolutely.
When you're driving the ball from the baseline, you're driving to a spot. I mean, you're targeting a spot. And when I say spot, you are actually, we call it a spot drive. And that's why you see teams, when they're driving today, because the transition's so good from their opponents that they don't even bother coming in because they're going to be called out of position because the point's just too quick transition-wise. I'll tell you what, it's a big ball by West. You know what? I have to say this, Brian. Because West has both sides. He has both wings, right? Do you think he's looking for both at once or looking for one or the other? I say he's looking for one or the other. You see how quick he snapped that forehand? He was only looking for that. If the ball went to his backhand, I promise you he would have lobbed it.
And I think that is a big thing he knows that's back to the lefty-righty quadrant thing, right? For Russell to hit it or Benkaim to hit it to his corner from that angle, he'd have to be hitting almost a roller. Based on his grip, he knows he's going down the middle. And like we mentioned earlier, I think he needs to get it a little more to Fraser's forehand because, as you said, West is sitting on that, right? He's sitting there waiting for it. It's a big grip adjustment also. So totally agree. He's waiting for that ball only when Russell's hitting overheads.
So, Brian, I have some good news for you.
I'm excited to hear it.
Okay. Here's your good news. I just got a message from someone tuning in saying that sunnier is a word.
That's a big deal for me.
That's a big deal for you, right?
Yes, huge deal.
You know what sunnier is? It, by definition, it's a comparative adjective. How about that?
I don't even know what an adjective is, but I like to
Listen.
know that I used it correctly.
Listen, all you need to know is you're 1 for 1. How about that?
That's Hall of Fame numbers.
I mean, you're right there. I mean, I would just stop right there because you can't get any better than that.
No, definitely not. And that's another big forehand by West to get the net here.
I tell you what, you know, the sun's not a factor anymore. I mean, the temperature here is bingo. I mean, couldn't pick a better paddle day, right?
Oh, absolutely not. I mean, I think it's about 30 degrees, 25 degrees in Cincinnati. These guys look to be not affected by the weather in the slightest. Totally agree, Guy.
No. Do you think they go with West here carving more balls up or no? Or I mean, they're kind of sharing the overhead responsibilities here.
Yeah, I think Fraser is taking a lot more in the second. And again, back to the point, you know, these two have good overheads. I don't think they actually really care right now. I think they're really trying to play the middle of the court. And when they get a ball like that, that's a little shorter, they go for the corner. And we got 40-15 with Tyler Fraser serving to Chris Humphreys to go up 3-2 in the second set here in Cincinnati.
Lob or drive?
Can I say drive after he already hit it?
It made it easy. When it went to the screen, it made it easy.
Yes, it did. All right, and that is game. And Eric West was all over that drive to go up 3-2 in the second set. And just a quick read for our sponsor, Corient. Corient is the official wealth sponsor of the APTA's 2024-2025 season. Corient is a fee-only wealth manager who puts their clients at the center of everything they do. Learn more at Corient.com. Now, Guy, I know we were talking a lot earlier about nationals, about the teams that we expected to play, and I wanted to talk a little bit with you because I know they changed things up a bit this year versus the previous years. So they are spreading it out a bit more where play is actually starting on Thursday, which usually it's on Friday, but it's on Thursday this year, March 6th. And the play will be done over 3 days with the finals happening on Saturday night, March 8th. So a little bit of a change up for those folks. And registration opens next week. So if you're thinking about playing, I know there's multiple draws out there. Please sign up. Really, really great event the team puts on.
Yeah, I think it's cool too, Brian, that the APTA elected to go that route where it's Saturday night because, I mean, obviously everyone's still around because Saturday's a big day at Nationals, and I don't know, it just makes it more of an event, you know. It's just
absolutely.
I mean, you're talking about probably, I don't know, 1,000 people, 500, 600, 700, 1,000 people at Philly Cricket Club watching that event for sure. And Bruce Redpath has done an amazing job of organizing and getting things orchestrated. Good man.
I think, you know, you said it as an event. Unless it's the Australian Open and you're watching in the States, that event happens at night, right? All these events happen, you know, on these nights. I think it's absolutely better. And, you know, I'm not going to be playing Nationals this year, but you better believe I'll be watching. And Saturday night, maybe I'll have a cocktail in my hand. You never know.
I would kind of lean towards one direction with that.
Well, if I'm commentating with you.
If I say lean, I mean lean.
All right.
All right, so clear to see that Humphreys and Benkaim know that this is, I mean, call it what it is, right? I mean, you go down 4-2, 6-1, 4-2, the door's shutting, right?
Yeah, you know, when I listen to other sports, I hate the term do or die. It really bothers me because you're like, oh, well, it's never over because there's a lot of stuff going on. But with how Fraser and West are playing, it makes that climb that much harder, right? I think they've made beating them in points outside of the second game of the set very challenging, right? So you know if you go down 4-2 here, you have to play just lights out games from here on out, which is not impossible, but unlikely, right? Given the high level that they're facing across the net.
Yeah, so Brian, kind of a loaded question, but not really. I mean, you could ask me the same, and you're welcome to. But what do you think the difference is in this match? I mean, it's not a runaway for Fraser West so far, and the match is far from over. But what do you think the difference is?
It's not a loaded question. It's a really good one.
Wow.
Oh, that is an unbelievable runaround to tag Benkaim. That is unbelievable shot.
On his pinky toe. Let's just see.
Yep.
Did it hit his pinky toe? Watch this. Yeah, man.
Oh,
Right on his pinky
absolutely.
toe. Yeah, that old pinky toe right there. That redefines silliness, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. You know, I mentioned they're from Cincinnati, but I got to come up with another adjective to describe that one.
You can only use it once in broadcast. Once,
All right.
only once.
All right.
Just like Sunnier and Cincinnati, done.
All right.
You got
Deal.
new material.
All right, I'll figure that out next time we're together.
Okay. I mean, we did define sunnier. I mean, that's a big word, man.
I can't look. I can use it. I definitely can't spell it. So.
Just look outside. How about that?
Yeah. Well, you know, unfortunately, where I am currently sitting, it is snowing. So, no sun for me. And that is a great forehand from Humphreys. But back to your question about what's been, you know, the driver of this match, and the easy answer is just errors, right? I think it's that, and it's going for the percentage higher shot, right? You see Russell, Benkaim, and Humphreys obviously have all these balls, right? They have all the shots, clearly, but that's just an ill-advised cutter because Eric West is so fast, he's going to get up to that ball and make you pay for it. And we're seeing that replay again from him going around the post. I mean, what an unbelievable shot that was.
Well, and to be honest, too, Brian, I mean, first of all, that was a crazy good cutter. And for Eric West to just 100% know what's coming, he was running. That's like a pick six in football. He was sprinting before that ball was ever hit, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yes. Full sprint. And after that game, Guy, do you feel like it slumped a bit on the other side of the net, losing that game? You think
Oh, for sure. You can see the energy level. And going back to, you know, the question I asked you, what's the difference? I mean, it's that explains the difference right there. It's a little frustration, but just, you know what? Humphreys and Benkaim just playing a match that they really haven't played the entire tournament. I mean, making errors that they normally don't make, unforced errors. It's just, you know, in a very cool way, it's just a little bit of a flat match. That's all. So far, anyways. I mean, not that they can't change right now, but it's just flat. I mean, you don't see these guys as good as they are make the mistakes that they make. And that's why that right there, Brian, is why I want West hitting more overheads. We haven't seen him hit enough of those today. Maybe when they see the finish line, he'll start carving them up a little bit more. But at the same time, does he have to? I mean, they are up 6-1, 4-2.
And that's back to my original point, right? The answer is no. They don't have to because they're able to win points other ways, which those other ways right now are unfortunately errors for Benkaim and Humphreys.
Right.
So, Guy, 5-2 down. You're serving right now. I believe Benkaim is going to be set to serve. What are you thinking about? What are you trying to do here? Just one shot at a time?
1 point at a time, to be honest with you. Yeah. I mean, because even though, Brian, it's a really cool question you just asked, even though you're down 6-1, 5-2, you only want to think about 1 point at a time because if you're up 15, 30, 40 love in a game, you still feel like you're winning something. So then all of a sudden, one game turns into 2, 3, hopefully. It has to at this point, right, because they're down 5-2. But you want to make sure that you're winning every single game that you play, meaning that you're front running in those games, not being down 30 love, 45, 40, 30, because then the tendency when you're down 6-1, 5-2 is to press, which you've clearly seen Benkaim and Humphreys doing.
Absolutely. And I know we're not there yet, but on that note, I will bet you $5 that Tyler Fraser will lob his next return for that exact reason of make these guys play these long points and win the point versus giving them freebies.
All right. First of all, Brian, I only bet $1 on any bet in my life.
We'll do 50 cents then.
No, $1. I will get $1 on Tyler Fraser's next return. That you say he's going to lob, I say he's going to drive, right?
Yes.
Okay, here we go. All right, here we go. Fraser, you better drive this ball, brother.
I want to count that as a drive. That's a drive. We'll count that. A karate chop drive. But high percentage.
I mean, listen, you just said you like the karate kid. So
I did. No, I owe you $1. But
listen, I know you do. I mean, that is not even negotiable.
No.
There was no. How about this? There was no altitude under that ball, so
no.
That's $1. That's $1 coming to Guy Moore.
All right, deal.
Right in that area.
All right. But I do like but drive or lob, right? There was no chance that ball was. That's a great overhead by Humphreys. There was no way he was missing that return, right? He cleared the net by 3 feet, right? That's the ball. Be smart, make them win points.
And to be honest with you, just some credit to you. I think what you said is a wonderful thought, but that ball was served so deep that it's almost easier to do what Fraser did than to lob it. For him to try to open his paddle up on a ball that's that high, not really going to happen, and it wasn't going to go to the screen.
30-15.
Maybe Humphreys and Benkaim seeing something here. Humphreys hitting more overheads.
So what's exciting, guys, I feel like once we hit January, we get into a really good paddle season, right? Next week, we're up in Boston, where we're going to have live streaming happening all weekend.
Are you going to be in Boston with me? Are you coming with me to Boston? Brian, you and I?
I mean, if I got the invite to, maybe, I'd love to.
Okay, keep going. I'm listening.
But we get, these two guys, Fraser Morgan, going to be Fraser and West playing together.
What do you mean? By the way, you were 1 for 1 with the calls. You're 0 for 2 on Fraser Morgan.
I know. So Hey, they played together for like 7 years, so my bad.
Okay.
But Fraser West, my apologies, playing together. And then we have Benkaim playing with Louisville Claire, another New Jersey guy. And we have Humphreys playing with Osis Koenig. So the New Jersey guys will have different partners. Cincinnati guys will play together again in Boston next weekend.
And, I was talking about it on air last night, Brian, and I'm interested in your opinion on this. I I don't want to say it's narrow-minded, but it goes for both the men's and ladies' side of the tour. And here we go, 5-3. I mean, I think I think Humphreys and Benkaim, if they saw anything from the net situation there, I mean, that's Humphreys hitting more overheads. I mean, that's what I saw. What about you?
Agreed. Yeah, and just smarter placement of overheads, right? And I think that was very smart of what Tyler Fraser just did with Eric West, right? They had some miscommunication. I think Eric made an error or two. They just, chatted a little bit. My guess is Tyler just said, hey, we're going to win this game, and this match is going to be over. Let's just be smart one at a time.
Yeah, so what I was going to say is, and we'll be quick here because this match could go on, or this is match game for Fraser and West. I think there's a lot to be said for playing too much with the same person because you're exposing yourself to, this is at the highest level now. You're exposing yourself to teams learning how to play you. They get enough reps, right? And they say, hey, this hasn't worked. This could work, and let's try this. And, it's tough for any team at any level to just stay undefeated or win the nationals in this sport. So, I don't know. I like the fact that Humphreys is playing with Benkaim. I like the fact that, some of these teams like Nunez is playing with different partners. It's cool. I like the fact that Salazar, for whatever reason, Regalato's probably busy with work or whatever. They play with different partners, because it's just a different look. You know what I mean?
Completely agree, and it's actually, I think, a way of how you get better, right?
No doubt.
An extreme example, and I'll use both of us as the example. That's a great shot by Benkaim around the post. Is if you and I were to play nationals with Johan Durant, we don't hit any overheads, right? We're not hitting any overheads. We're going to let him hit every overhead. We can't improve overheads if we don't hit any, right? And that's an extreme example. Of course, you want him hitting every overhead, but I think that's how you get better, is you play with people who have different skill sets, and that lets you work on certain parts of your game as well.
Oh, that's a very, very valid point, Brian. That's a great way of looking at it for sure. And not only that, when you play with different players, you're not only talking about what they do best at the net, but what they do best on the baseline and what you're trying to set up offensively. It's just, you know what it does? It just increases, at the risk of sounding a little, I'll use the word silly again, but it increases your paddle IQ. It just makes you a better, deeper player.
And down 15-40 on the service game, you can see Benkaim and Humphreys' energy levels getting pumped up. They're really starting to play a little better here and clean paddle.
Well, and that's just what we said. That's it. The biggest difference in what I've seen up until this point is just a flat match, and now you're not seeing that as much, right?
100%.
30-40.
Unbelievable.
It doesn't matter if Fraser hadn't seen a backhand for 10 minutes. He's always sitting on it, isn't he?
Oh, absolutely. And that's a big thing about paddle, right? You get lulled into kind of complacentness at times of, that overhead's safe, that ball's fine. You saw it right there. And Russell might have just missed a spot, Benkaim, and Tyler made him pay for it. Fraser just pounded that backhand.
Wow, good volley. That was a great height by Benkaim. West or Fraser hitting overheads here?
I think that I would prefer Fraser to hit overheads here.
Really?
Yeah, on this point in particular.
Why?
I don't want Humphreys to beat me here on this point.
Okay.
Guy is more experienced in these matches. I want to test Benkaim's patience on this point.
I'm going to go other side, and I'm going to say West needs to, as you say, chew it up.
And here's the switch in the backcourt. Switching again.
Let's make sure Benkaim stays patient here. Doesn't try to slash something he shouldn't. I could see it being a time where he would try it. Sun's back out, brother.
If only there was a word to describe that.
You can't use it anymore.
Correct. And that is a great break to stay in this match for Benkaim and Humphreys.
Fraser West won the first set 6-1.
And we talked about it earlier, this game is so small adjustments and changes based. I don't think that Weston Fraser necessarily playing a lot worse, right? I think it's really, you're seeing Humphreys and Benkaim just tighten it up a little bit and are not going for the cut on a little bit deeper, right? They're going for the higher percentage ball and are just getting these points after long rallies.
Well, they're playing the way that got them here, right, Brian? I mean,
Absolutely.
Again, they just started off a little slow, making errors that they characteristically don't make. And it's easy with their talent to try shots that they shouldn't, or hit shots that, again, like we've said 2 or 3 times, that work in the earlier rounds against players that aren't Fraser and West. Now, you asked me a question a minute ago. What do you do when you're down 5-2, 6-1, 5-2? And that's why I think this is a big point here, because Benkaim and Humphreys go up 15-30 love is a much different feel than them going down love 30 at 6-1, 5-4. Basically, even if you're losing, Brian, you always got to feel like you're winning.
Absolutely. Now, you asked me this question, but in reverse, I'm going to ask you it now. Who do you want hitting more overheads, Benkaim or Humphreys?
Humphreys.
More action on the ball? Do you think he's getting more easier, I guess, points, more errors?
I just feel like I've liked what I've seen from that better. I mean, there you go. I mean, because even though he didn't hit an overhead there, if you have Benkaim on the net to volley like that, by the way, what do you think the speed off the deck after that ball hit it and then hit the net was? I mean, that's craziness.
Yes, it is. All right, now they have 3 chances here to get back to 5-5 in this second set.
And that's what I was saying a couple games ago. Just don't there's no need for that. Even I mean, I guess if you're going to do it when you're up 40 love, but no need, right?
No, don't. You don't have to be that nice. There's just no need. Period. You are very close to getting an opportunity. No need to do that. All right, and now we got 5-5. Mr. Moore, you and I were talking about like we were going to go to the beach here in a few games, and now we are locked into a second set battle.
Yep. At 5-2, you see Benkaim and Humphreys just completely dial it in. And I think this is where Fraser and West need to have more of a definitive plan who's hitting overheads.
I mean, these hands are just silly at net.
That is ridiculous, those 4 or 5 exchanges, right?
But I agree with you. The ebb and flow of their play at net, while it might have kind of worked in the first set because they got a lot of errors, I think they need to figure out, okay, well, what is their definitive strategy here? And look, if it works out by you getting Fraser massive forehands, then awesome. Look at these hand-to-hands from these guys up at net. Unbelievable.
30 love.
Yeah, and then you see a couple loose points. Well, I mean, the point previous wasn't loose. That was a great drive. And, I mean, Benkaim did not have to reach for that volley, but whatever.
Yeah, but that drive, and it's obviously easy for me to be sitting here commentating it, right? But West is staying back after that serve. Benkaim is so good. He doesn't miss many of those, but that's one where he obviously wants it back, and in hindsight, maybe add a little margin, right? Don't give Fraser and West any freebies because they could be feeling a little tight given they've dropped the last 3 games.
There's that carve back to the ad side from West. I want to see him go in that pattern. 1, watch this. 2, okay. Let's go 1 here. Let's go 2 there, and then let's go 3 over. Okay, ball was a little short. There it is. Now he's starting to get a little. Hey, Brian, you ready for a new word for this afternoon?
I'm ready.
West is starting to get a little frisky with his overhead.
Whoa! I am loving that. Absolutely, I'm loving that. Yeah.
You like that? He's starting to get a little frisky. There it is. See what I mean? You see the pattern, right? Well,
yes, I do.
Hey, what type of overhead did he just hit there? A frisky one?
Little frisky with a little chew on it.
Yep.
That's a great let go there by Benkaim.
Wow.
I know. I just touch it and it goes to.
West is in disbelief that the ball is flying out off his paddle.
Yeah.
Wow. Now, when you're up 40 love and you lose a game like this, that's could cost you the match.
Absolutely. And that's the one that, Benkaim, look, he hit it. He got a lot of margin on it. He was not going to miss that return on this point. And that is just silly from Eric West to exclamation point to get him to 6-5 here.
By the way, I don't even know, Brian, if we could use silly or frisky on that one. That's just
no.
I don't know. Let me, you know what? Let me just give me just a couple moments to think the adjective I'm going to use for that because I'm going to come up with a really good one.
And I have
You know
one.
what? No, I already
have
got
one.
one.
All
All
right,
right,
let's hear it.
you go. Yeah, hold on. Everyone's going to chime in on this. You're going to give me yours, and then I'm going to give you mine. Go ahead.
Great. I'm going to say audacious. What an audacious attempt there.
No,
You're out? All right, let's hear it.
I'm going to say daddy.
Wow. I like that.
You agree with that, don't you?
I do agree with that.
And by the way, that's with a capital D.
I thought it was going to be all caps, but I'm okay with that.
It is. I was going to say capital D-N-Y. I mean, that probably means everything in between's cap. But, I mean, that is daddy all day. All right, first point here, very important. Great lob by West. Pulling him in with that drive, and that's just typical pattern, right? You pull Benkaim in, you lob down the line, it moves the ball over to Fraser. Benkaim and Humphreys don't need to get impatient here. Fraser, West need to keep making the ball move, lobbing down the line, making the ball move back and forth between the two of them. It'll create space. Watch. Exactly. See how Fraser's hitting one lob and then West is hitting the next one. That's what they want. Down the line. By the way, those slashes that both Benkaim and Humphreys hit, I mean, nasty. And
Yeah.
I
That
mean,
is
that's
just
just
unbelievable defense. Yeah, I mean, you can't ask for more.
well, it's unbelievable defense, and they're digging balls from their shoelaces. I mean, the ball is on the snowboard. I mean, it's not, and they're making it. You know what the thing about that is that's cool, Brian, too, is how slow their hands are when the ball's moving that quickly, right? That's not easy to do.
Nope.
Come back.
All right, who's going to hit overheads here, Fraser or West? Go,
Fraser.
go. Okay, we don't have to answer that anymore.
But very smart play by Benkaim saying, go back. No need to hit an overhead if you think it might be out, or if you hit it, you're going to get, in severe trouble. Just let it bounce, reset the point.
Wow. Ball just jumped. Yeah, the Suns. Big time out here, right?
Yes, it is directly over the paddle hut. So you're getting a full blast of it on that side of the court.
Yeah, I don't think that. Not leaning back. Not the time to hit that.
6-6.
Alrighty, Guy. Breaker time. Who do you got in this breaker?
I'm going to go Fraser West. What do you got?
I'm going to go for more paddle. I'm going to go with the New Jersey guys.
Okay. No! Come on! I mean, they certainly have the momentum. This is where Fraser West need to remember they're up a set, and they need to play like it. The pressure is still not on them, but they're kind of acting like it is since 5-2, right?
A bit, right? I think they've allowed Humphreys and Benkaim to kind of change the trajectory and type of points they're playing, where in the first set and most of the second set, you know, they were dictating play.
Wow.
And we're just seeing some uncharacteristic errors here from Fraser West.
Yes. I got it.
Yeah, I think it's just a little bit of focus, you know what I mean? I mean, those errors we haven't seen, I don't know, since 6-1-5-2, but they're creeping in for sure.
Yep.
Wow.
That's unbelievable.
When things go downhill, they go downhill, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Great hands up there at net.
Great move by Humphreys, right?
Oh, that
Ooh,
is
I like
just
that.
an unbelievable get by Fraser. Benkaim can't believe it clipped the net and went over.
1 serving 3, excuse me.
Yeah, but such a good move by Humphreys coming in. I like that move too. And his hands are so solid and steady. Okay, a couple quick points.
Humphreys, Benkaim.
Isn't that amazing about paddle tiebreakers? You go up 3-love. In a tennis tiebreaker, you feel like, oh, I'm in the driver's seat because serving is such an advantage. In paddle, negative.
I've lost a lot of breakers where I've been up 3-0. I've won a lot of breakers where I've been down 3-0. It's a very fine line in these breakers.
Yeah, I think definitely Humphreys hitting the overheads here is. Yeah, there it is. That pattern, people are catching on to that. 2 and 1. 2. What you know? What you should call that, Brian? 2 plus 1.
What does that equal? 5?
Oh, equals bingo. All right, when's it going to go the other way? Ready? Not now. And you can see West with the pressure that Humphreys is putting on him, standing 2 or 3 feet behind the baseline, not looking to drive at all. He's just playing complete defense. He has no choice.
Yeah, I mean, those overheads coming to his corner are lethal.
Notice, too, how Humphreys never really looks at Benkaim. He doesn't need to on those short lobs. So he could focus on where they know where the ball's going, by the way. So he's just a much better volleyer the less he's looking at Benkaim. Look at him. He doesn't even ever turn his head. Look, watch. Yeah.
Come on!
That's a big point for Benkaim Humphreys to go up 4-2 in the second set breaker.
I hope Benkaim and Humphreys have Taylor Swift jet they're flying back to the East Coast with. I mean, right?
I have no idea when they booked their flight. I'm hoping it was an evening flight.
Oh, well, it's got to be at this point.
Bounce. They're in. There. Stay there. Yeah.
Wow.
Great get. Great show athleticism. Ball's just out of the lob. What a great get.
Well, not only that, just great communication, right? They're talking in scramble mode. Yeah, you see how West pulled forward there, right, Brian? He was
Covering
looking
his
for that
line.
volley. Yeah, exactly.
On top of the net.
Who's going to win this point, Brian? Go. $1. You already owe me $1. Go.
The team at net.
Hold up
There's your
right
wet.
now or went in transition?
Let's go!
I didn't specify. All right, I'll give you the $1.
All right, you're down 2-0. Okay.
Great close by Benkaim there with a huge forehand going right at West.
You know what? That's what we were talking about earlier, too, is remember when we said, hey, if it's a ball sitting up high, shoulder level, you're going to crush the ball. That's where you think you're going to win the point because of time and space. I mean, that's the time to do that, which he did beautifully. I don't know if I've ever used that word on live stream beautifully. I might not ever use it again. Are you good with that, Brian?
I'm good to put that into the law. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that doesn't fit me well beautifully, that whole dialogue. No, that's a no. Wow.
It's a great move by Humphreys. He was all over that.
These guys, I mean.
The second set. Fraser. West won the first set 6 games to 1.
Yeah. Fraser West won the first set 5 hours ago, 6-1. Right? Wow.
What an
Great move by
unbelievable
Fraser.
close.
Wow, that's good. Wow. Match point just like that? Are you kidding me?
6-5.
Yes.
Unbelievable.
Gosh, I can't believe how quick it changes. I mean, I know it and I don't know it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
All right. Net team, baseline team, $1. You're down $2 to 0, Brian.
Fraser and West are going to do it right here.
Okay. You know what? I'm not going to bet against you. How about that? I don't have to take the other side, do I?
No, you don't have to.
By the way, at the conclusion of this match, whether it ends here or goes into the third, we will have an on-court interview. Wow.
What a time to come up with the goods there on that backhand down the line, right at Fraser.
And you know what the best thing about that shot was? The height. Yeah, look at Fraser moving hard left. I mean, clearly. No, though, I just feel like.
Oh, and he got a seam there off the roller to go up 7-6.
Yeah, and I was just about to say, I mean, I've seen West just carve that overhead up so much, Brian. I mean, but you know what? I mean, he's steady, solid with that. I mean, I can't argue with what just happened. All right, match point again here. Yeah, Benkaim's overhead, that overhead, he just lets it drop. I mean, if that were to hit the screen, Brian, it would not even come past the baseline. He just dies into the back wire. That's why it's so good.
It's a great reset overhead that makes Fraser and West have to think about it, right?
Well, in that overhead basically starts the point
7-0.
all over again each time. All right, 2 match points. Wow.
And I think it was the right ball to swing at, Guy. Just might have gotten a little behind him.
Nah, he just didn't commit to it, right? I mean, you can't wait on that. All right, could go quick here.
Set point.
that's a good look by Benkaim. Great look.
And that's where maybe West looming in the middle makes that shot a little, makes him think about it just a little bit more.
No doubt about it. Think about it, Brian. You're 2 points away from this match, feeling a little like it was one-sided with Fraser West from being dead even. Dead even.
Battle is a wild game.
Wow. Great backhand by Humphreys.
Oh, great move from Humphreys coming with the line to hit that.
Yeah, I mean, West just hit a sick volley, right? I mean, that ball was on top of him. Wow.
That was a definitive call by Fraser telling West, do not even think about hitting that ball.
Yep.
All right. Benkaim and Humphreys serving down 8-9 in the second set breaker. This is third match point here for Fraser West.
All right, so you're down $2 to 0 to me, right, Brian?
Yes.
All right. Who's winning this point? $1.
They're going to finally finish it.
Okay.
Fraser West.
I'm not going against you. I can't. There it is.
And there it is. What a great match for that second set. Congratulations to Tyler Fraser and Eric West. Played great all tournament, played great down the stretch here to win it in that second set breaker.
Yeah, it's cool. And I believe we're going to have an on-court interview, and then we'll come back to you and I, Brian, and wrap it up.
Sounds like a plan, guy.
Oh, he's asking the umpire if he needs help. Yeah, he's just going to flip off that seat up there, right, Brian?
Yes, he is. We're going to need a ladder to help our chair up out.
Yeah,
But big shout out. Yeah.
Borgatti, it does sound like a good gymnast name, though, doesn't it? Borgatti?
It definitely does.
I mean,
And I don't know about that, but good chair ump for sure, though, right? He did a great job up there, sitting up there for hours. Huge shout out to Ron up there.
That we're going to be using the right here in the corner, so you guys are good probably right here in this spot. Bring you guys up right here. Fantastic. All right. Same paddle. Can I get a picture of you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, without me is fine. Yeah, I don't want to be in the picture. Is this? Hey guys, it was Skyline
Time as well.
Skyline. Order pizza.
Yeah. All plugged in here. Sorry about that.
You gotta turn it on, right? Yeah, it was off. All right, just tell me when. Look on the weekend. Awesome. I'll send that to Murphy.
Perfect. Thank you.
He's in Seattle right now.
That potential some WeConnect guys are gonna come watch in Boston
You ready?
next weekend.
Okay. We good? I'm not used to all this. Tyler, you got some little ones here?
Tom, will you make sure that Tyler has some, participate in the speech?
Got one and one in the belly.
Eric should be the primary speaker.
One and one cooking.
Can't get off the
Soon too.
Oh, one cooking?
Third trimester, yeah.
Ready?
That's my wife.
Okay.
I'll introduce you to here.
Okay, yeah. All right, I'd like to thank everyone for watching the Midwesterns here in Cincinnati. I'd like to thank all our patrons and unwavering fans out there. I'd like to thank everybody who participated in the 53rd annual. This tournament's been played since 1972. A lot of history here. I'd like to thank all the players who came out. We had over 190 players in the tournament this year from 14 cities across 9 states in the Midwest and Northeast. I'd like to thank the 10 racket clubs in the city who hosted everyone in the tournament, and especially the food and beverage and maintenance crews that made it all happen with the inclement weather we had yesterday. I'd like to thank the APTA for making it all possible and for streaming this event, and the GCPTA and the membership for the contributions and effort to bring it all together. I'd like to thank our sponsors, Roto-Rooter, River Hills Bank, Viking, and Total Platform Tennis. And finally, the winners of the tournament again this year. Always chokes me up to do this, but congratulations, guys. Eric, congratulations. Tyler.
Thank you.
So this was a tough match in the second set. It looked like you guys were in full control in the first, and then the battle started. A lot of energy came out of your opponents in the beginning of the second set, and it went back and forth. What was the turning point, if there was one, and what was your strategy going into the tiebreaker?
I think in the second set, Chris and Russell, they really tightened things up, but they brought their energy up. They maybe switched some things a little bit. We kind of got off script a little, our strategy, but we just kept it close. We knew going into the tiebreaker, we just had to play some good paddle, and we came out in the end on top. But no, you got to give it to Chris and Russell. It's, losing us the first set like that. They really dug in and started playing some really good paddle in the second. We're pretty fortunate that we're not playing a third set right now.
That's a true statement. We were all on the edge of our seats inside. Tyler, you played a fairly conservative match, keeping everything in pace. Did you ever at any point think that you were losing control of it and heading for the third set, or did you just waiting it out?
No, I mean, I didn't think our level dropped too much. I thought it was more they kind of tightened things up, like Eric said. They stopped making as many errors, and it was very tricky to lob on one side today. There's a strong breeze this way, so we were talking about that after the match, where it's so delicate that you don't want to miss long. But then if you leave them short, these guys are pretty good at making you pay for it. So it just was a little tricky to make decisions on this side, and it just seemed like playing kind of steady and waiting for my moment was working, so that encouraged me to kind of stay patient.
A lot of fantastic gets on the court, man. There was
Thanks.
a lot of tight stuff.
Yeah, I think the turning point, that breaker, I went off the beam and kind of lucked out on a let cord. But that really felt like that was a big moment. The breaker, I think we would have been down maybe.
Great match.
4-0.
Great match. So I'd like the opportunity now to present you with the check.
Awesome. Thank you.
This is a photographic moment here. This is the biggest check for the Midwesterns in the 53 years. Chris, do you want to bring out the trophy? This is the second time that you guys have won this trophy.
Come on, partner.
It's a big trophy. It's a big trophy. Yeah. This is 53 years of playing, and you guys have have a repeat in there. So congratulations and thanks.
Thank you, Todd.
Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah, huge thanks to all the tournament committee and to my club, Camargo Club, everybody that came out, my wife, our sponsors. I mean, we had a lot of people to thank as well. The list goes on and on.
So thanks, everybody. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll give you 1, 2, 3, 1. 2. Thank you.
I always choke up when I say you guys won.
Dennis, this is my wife, Olivia.
All right, Brian, what do you think, man?
I mean, great match from these guys. I thought what they said was kind of what we were thinking assessment-wise. Went off a little bit, but really Benkaim and Humphreys just tightened it up and played much better in the second set than they did in the first.
I think to sum it all up, everybody, I mean, it's typical. You win a first set the way, even at this level, Fraser and West won at 6-2. Probably a little closer than that, but, I mean, it's easy to go into the second set. And by the way, they were up 5-2 in the second. I mean, what Benkaim and Humphreys did was a great adjustment. And to be honest, they probably should have won that tiebreaker. So it is what it is. But, you know, you have a great team like Fraser West, and they powered through it. Brian, it was great calling the match with you. That's a wrap from the men's final at the 2025 Midwesterns. We'll see you next weekend with coverage on the 14th stop on the APTA Tour. And the third Grand Prix of the season, the Boston Open, clearly from Boston, Mass. Have a good night, Brian. Love it. See you, brother.
Too. Thanks, everybody.
Want to see how volley can transform training at your club? We've got a great offer for you. Gather 30 of your club friends, and you'll get a free 30-day trial of volley. Experience firsthand how volley's trainer can help everyone improve. Increase reps and track your progress, all while training smarter. Don't miss out. Visit getvolley.com and unlock your club's full potential with a 30-day free trial.
At Corient, wealth management begins and ends with you. We believe the more personal the solution, the more powerful the result. We treat your goals as our own. We never lose focus on the life you want to build. And our experienced advisors design custom-built strategies to help you get there. It's time for a wealth management experience as sophisticated as you are. It's time for Corient.
James thinks this is going to be a quick in and out for a water valve. But what James is about to realize is that there are tons of different water valves. Hundreds, in fact. Do you want half-inch or a quarter? Globe or gate? Chrome? Brass? PVC? What even is PVC? Sounds fancy. Oh no, we don't need help. He's a grown-up. Wait, James, where are you going? Oh, not again. You could be like James, or you could just